Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dato' Insinyur Muhammad Marzuki bin Mustafa, Pro Deputy Vice Chancellor, Strategy and Corporate Development, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Andanastuti Mokhtar, Director, the UKM Graduate Centre. Yang berbahagia Dr. Ashinida Aladin, Chairperson, UKM 3-Minute Thesis Competition 2017. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Ishaq Ahmad and Professor Riza Sulaiman, Deputy Directors, the UKM Graduate Centre. Dr. Mahalakshmi Arjunan, Executive Director, Malaysian Biotechnology Information Centre, who's going to be the head jury of the 3-Minute Thesis Competition 2017, members of the jury, academicians, participants, students from Global Islamic Boarding School Indonesia, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. Welcome to the final round of the UKM 3-Minute Thesis Competition 2017. To bless this auspicious event, I now call upon Associate Professor Dr. Razali bin Muhammad to recite dua.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursalin. Wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Allahumma innaka khallaqul azim, innaka sami'un alim, innaka ghafurur rahim, innaka rabbul arsil azim, innaka barul jawadul karim. Oh Allah, forgive us what we have done in the past, and what we will do in the future, and what we have concealed, and what we have done openly, and what we have exceeded in every single part of our undertakings. You are the bringer forward, and you are the delayer. There is no true God except you. Allahumma ya Karim ya Rahim, ya Fa'alun lima yurid. We are able together in this event, UKM 3 Minutes Thesis Competition 2017. Give us your blessing for our prestigious event today. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Razali, for the dua recitation. Without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Ashinida Aladin, Chairperson of the UKM 3-Minute Thesis Competition 2017, to present her welcoming address.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Thank you, Madam Chairperson Dr. Zalifa. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dato' Insinyur Muhammad Marzuki bin Mustafa, Pro NAP Chancellor Strategi dan Pembangunan Corporate UKM. Yang berbahagia Profesor Andanastuti Mokhtar, Pengarah Pusat Siswazah UKM, Honorable Judges, distinguished guests from industry and government agencies, professors, academics, postgraduate students, and we have our guest today from Global Islamic Boarding School, Banjarmasin, Kalimantan, Indonesia. Thank you for coming. And last but not least, to our participant, finalist of 3MT. I know you are getting nervous. Okay, but relax. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, selamat datang ke Pusat Siswazah. Ahlan wa sahlan bikum. I'm very pleased to welcome all of you here to the final round of 3MT UKM 2017 competition. This is our third year in organizing 3MT competition to train our postgraduate to be articulate in presenting their research, and 3MT competition develops academic presentation, research communication skills, and supports the development of students' abilities to effectively explain their research in language appropriate to non-specialist audience. Graduate students will have only 3 minutes to present a convincing discussion on their research topic, its significance and relevance to the general public. Ladies and gentlemen, this year we received about 35 participants competing in the preliminary round, where 18 students were selected by a set of panels to compete this morning. The participants were given extensive training by experienced speakers to improve their presentation, pronunciation, and body language. And we had the opportunity to work with Dr. Zalifa from FST, is our MC today, Dr. Wahiza from Chitra, and Dr. Ahmad Hanif from IVI, who trained them. I believe that the trainings provided boosted the students' level of confidence and determination. Thank you to the coaches. Ladies and gentlemen, the contestants are competing in 3 categories according to their research theme. We have engineering, science and technology, and science social. The best candidates who fulfill the criteria will representing UKM at the national level at 3MT at University Science Malaysia on the 18th of May 2017. I personally believe that we come here better prepared, and hopefully we can snatch a place at the national level at USM. For your information, the winner will represent Malaysia at the International 3MT competition in Australia later this year. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very honored today. We have Dr. Mahalakshmi Arjunan as our head of jury. She is an executive Director, Malaysian Biotechnology Information Center, MABIC. We have Professor Dr. Baharuddin Omar, our former Dean and Professor at Faculty of Health Science, UKM. We have Tuan Muhammad Helmi Abdul Majid, Senior Producer and News Reader, Astro Awani Sendirian Berhad. And we have Dr. Jaisuman bin Puspanathan, Postdoctoral Secretariat Research Center. And for your information, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. J is the runner-up at the International Trans-Tasmanian 3-Minute Thesis Competition 2015, held in Australia. And he is the winner of People's Choice Award. Not only that, he is also the winner of 3MT Asia 2015 for engineering cluster, held in Ritsumeikan University, Kyoto, Japan, and best of the best, and the winner of 3MT Malaysia 2015 for engineering category. What a pleasant day. Thank you very much indeed for your precious time today with us. Okay, whilst I'm standing here, I would like to express my gratitude to our yang berbahagia, Professor IR, Professor Dato Insinyur Muhammad Marzuki bin Mustafa, our Pro-Naib Chancellor, Strategi dan Pembangunan Korporat UKM, for his support to this event. Thank you, yang berbahagia, Dato. To all the professors, deans, directors, fellow academics, and supervisors, representatives from industries and government agencies, it is our honor to have your presence in this event. Okay. Right. I would like to also thank my committee members and team at Pusat Siswazah UKM, and I would like to thank Prof. Andana Stuti Mukhtar for her trust and support to our team in organizing such an event since the very beginning of 3MT was introduced to UKM. Everyone gave their best in their respective tasks, and we would not have this event if not of their efforts. Thank you very much. Okay. Last but not least, to our 3MT finalists, I would like to congratulate all of the 3MT participants for your effort and courage to share your passion of research with us. I do believe that pitching your hard work of 2 years and above of your research in 3 minutes is absolutely not an easy task. An 80,000 word thesis would take 9 hours to present. However, you only have 3 minutes to do so, which is incredible. Once again, congratulations, and prepare yourself to be challenged, excited, and inspired. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Ashinida Aladdin, for the speech. Next, I would like to invite Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Andana Stuti Mukhtar, Director, the UKM Graduate Centre, to present her welcoming speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Dr. Zalifah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi. Yang berbahagia, Profesor Engineer Dr. Muhammad Mazuki Mustafa, Pro-Naib Chancellor, Strategi dan Pembangunan Korporat Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Honorable Judges, distinguished guests from industries and government agencies, Deans, Directors, fellow academics, 3MT contestants, students, and our special visitors from Kalimantan, Indonesia, GIPS. Ladies and gentlemen, salam sejahtera dan salam satu Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, Alhamdulillah, praise to Allah Almighty for granting us the opportunity to gather for this auspicious occasion this very fine morning. And first and foremost, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to everyone to our humble graduate center in UKM, especially to our friends from the industry and government agencies. Selamat datang ke Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Thank you all for your interest and effort to be here today and to lend support to the finals of the 3MT UKM competition. I would also like to take this opportunity to especially thank Yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Engineer Muhammad Mazuki bin Mustafa, Pro-Naib Chancellor, for his kind presence and support today. We are very pleased that 3MT is an annual event celebrated at UKM, and UKM is keen to share our academic activities, especially our research and innovation, to the industries, stakeholders, as well as to the communities. It is our honor to have your presence in today's event. The UKM Graduate Center regularly organizes interdisciplinary student activities that encourage participation of diverse groups of students, such as today, with the aim of providing a platform to enhance our postgraduates' personal and professional development. We do not wish to let our students focus solely on completing their master's and PhD theses whilst neglecting the soft skills that are so important in today's days and era. And I believe the industries and employers know that only too well. As such, in preparation for today, we have organized several training sessions for the contestants to further develop and hone their public speaking skills. In addition, our Graduate Center plays a major role in offering additional professional skills and mentorship to our postgraduates. We are very active in organizing various research and writing workshops, seminars, public lectures, industrial visits, and forums, all in the hope of benefiting the postgraduate community in UKM, as well as our neighboring universities. And for the past few weeks, I have seen the final contestants. They have trained really hard, and I'm proud that their pitching skills have improved tremendously. I know it's not easy to stay on stage and talk for 3 minutes without a text. I still have mine. Okay, and I'm sure the skills you have picked up are not only useful just for today, but should also last a lifetime. I would like to wish all the contestants the best in today's competition and do UKM proud later in the national level. Ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to thank, of course, the judges for spending time today. Dr. Mahalachyumi Arjunan, Professor Baharin Omar, good friend of mine, Dr. Jayasuman bin Puspanatan, and Tuan Muhammad Helmi Abdul Majid. Thank you very much. We sincerely appreciate your time and effort in making our contest a success and working together. We are preparing the students for their future careers and helping the workforce of tomorrow. Last but not least, the event has been realized through the commitment given by the UKM 3MT Organizing Committee, headed by our very own Dr. Ashinida Aladin, who is also the head of our graduate training and mentorship at the UKM Graduate Center. I see that her enthusiasm, energy, and leadership has kept the team together, working seriously to ensure the successful running of today's event. A big thank you and congratulations to the team, and comprising also various academics from the various faculties in UKM. Thank you. With that, thank you very much, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Andana Stuti Mokhtar, for the speech. I now have the pleasure to invite Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Insinyur Dr. Muhammad Marzuki bin Mustafa, Pro Vice Chancellor from Strategy and Corporate Development, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, to deliver his speech and to officiate open the UKM 3-minute thesis competition 2017.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang berbahagia, my good friend Dr. Adnan Suti, who gave a good speech just now. Dr. Arsinida, Chairman of the 3-minute thesis UKM competition. Our Honorable Judge, led by our Chief Judges, Dr. Mahlachumi. My good friend, Prof. Baha. Very distinguished white hair, you cannot miss him. Dr. Jayasuman from UTM. Our celebrity judge, Tuan Muhammad Helmi. You should be actually conducting the event today, make it more lively. To all our distinguished guests, committee member, and then I saw a few deans here, Dato' Noor Azhar, I saw Prof. Norman, Deputy Dean, Prof. Ima. I suppose you are coming here to support your students, suppose. What? Yes. And to all the participant contestants, students, ladies and gentlemen, actually I'm pleased to be with all of you today to witness this great event, to see our contestants presenting all their hard work into 3 minutes. If you are nervous, I'm sure your supervisor here also nervous. They are equally, and then even Prof. Tuti is also nervous. Because the fact that actually she spent a lot of time trying to prepare you. So as we all know, actually this competition actually started in Queensland, University of Queensland, and then we actually, because of I think it's a good event, and then we have started at UKM similarly to prepare our contestants for the final year, for the final competition at the international level. So it will be held at USM this time, is it, Prof. Tuti? This event is also a good opportunity for UKM actually to share what we have done, our research. They are among us, actually people from outside, from industry, government agencies, so they were able to see, the most important thing for you, as we heard just now, to present. I'm sure your research is very sophisticated, complicated, to present it in the simple layman, in 3 minutes. That I'm sure is a very challenging task. But if you can do it, I'm sure you can survive your Viva, very well. I would like to thank all, especially the committee members. I was told actually not only from our Center for Graduates, coming from various faculty, from Faculty of Social Science, Engineering, Science. Actually, there are many people actually collaborate to make sure this event is a successful one. I actually look forward to be seated later on at the end of the day, all of us will understand. Hopefully, you are able to make sure we understand all what you are doing. So there are 13 topics. So my time is up. Actually, I time myself 3 minutes. I also said to Prof. Tuti, I also going to give a 3-minute opening. So all the best to you for today's competition, and also those that actually been selected for the national competition. So I hereby declare the 3 minutes thesis final competition officially open. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Professor Dato' Insinyur Dr. Muhammad Marzuki Mustafa, for the speech and officiating this event. We now have reached the agenda we all have been waiting for since this morning, which is the competition itself. Before we begin the event, allow me to introduce once again the panel of jury who will be adjudicating the competition. This is to show how important you guys are. Without you guys, we can't even pick the winner for UKM today. So we have Dr. Mahalachmi Arjunan, Executive Director, Malaysian Biotechnology Information Center, who is the head jury for this UKM 3-minute thesis competition. We have Professor Dr. Baharudin Omar, former Professor, University Kebangsaan Malaysia. We have Dr. Jayasuman bin Pusmanathan, Postdoctoral Secretariat, Research Management Center, University Technology Malaysia. And last but not least, we have Tuan Muhammad Hilmi Abdul Majid, Senior Producer and Newsreader, Astro Awani, Sendirian Berhad. We have now come to the much awaited moment. and I'm sure all the participants are very nervous today. I have the greatest pleasure to invite the first participant to come up on stage and to pitch her thesis for 3 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Azia Ali.
Diabetic retinopathy, or DR. Have you ever heard of it? It's actually a disease, and this is how a patient with DR sees. They see black spots everywhere. DR affects the retina of diabetic patients, and now at least 15% of Malaysian adults are diabetic. DR affects, as I said, DR affects the retina of diabetic patients. Now, let's backtrack a little bit. What exactly is retina? It's actually the thin lining of cells on the inside of your eye. When you look at an object, the light from that object enters your eye and it gets focused onto the retina, which converts it into electrical signals to be interpreted by your brain, allowing you to see the object. My research contributes towards development of a software tool for automatic analysis of the retinal image. So basically, for you to be able to detect the disease, you have to go through a routine retinal screening. This is normally done using a special camera, known as fundus camera, where it photographs the inside of your eye to produce a retinal image. So my research will produce a software that extracts blood vessels from the image. Now, why blood vessels? Because by observing the characteristic changes of the blood vessels, the doctors can tell whether or not you have DR. So the software would also allow systematic storage of the images. So that will make it that much easier for doctors to keep track of patients' data. So with the software, we hope that my PhD outcome will benefit the diabetic retinopathy community in Malaysia. And let's hope that with the software, I can help to prevent you from waking up to this vision. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Azia Ali is from the Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, and her research was on blood vessel tracking for retinal disease diagnosis. Her supervisors are as shown on the screen, Professor Dr. Aini Hussein and Dr. Wan Mimi Diana Wanzaki. Field of expertise for Professor Dr. Aini is on intelligent system engineering, pattern recognition, computer vision, computational intelligence, and signal processing of image, video, speech, biosignals, and power quality. While the field of expertise for Dr. Wan Mimi Diana Wanzaki is on signal and image processing, medical image processing, image analysis, and image retrieval. Participant is Abdullah Amru bin Indra Lutfi, and he is from the Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Abdullah Amru bin Indra Lutfi.
Ladies and gentlemen, succinic acid, it has been traditionally produced through a process which involves the use of petrochemical-based process. However, the uncertain supply and fluctuating prices of crude oil along with the rise in global populations, have driven much initiatives towards the utilization of sustainable and greener counterpart sources for production of valuable fine chemicals such as succinic acid. For that reason, bio-based succinic acid has been recognized as a priority or a forerunner among the top 12 building block chemicals, as it has been used in the manufacturing of many important products, such as in the making of food flavorings, biodegradable plastics, automotive interiors, building constructions, polymers, and coatings, among others. Bio-based succinic acid can be produced through a process called fermentation. This is where microorganisms are used to consume sugars to form succinic acid. In my research, I'm using the oil palm frond as to substitute the expensive commercial sugar as carbon source. This is due to the fact that oil palm frond is the largest agricultural residue in this planet after rice-based wastes. In order to boost the oil palm frond utilization to 100%, I'm developing this amazingly simple technique called cell immobilization. The immobilization of cell acts quite similar to a university where students are kept inside an institution such as university so as to boost their academic performance. So do with immobilization of cells. All the microorganisms will be kept and trapped inside a matrix so that they could concentrate on utilizing the oil palm frond. And at the end, there will be no wastage in the form of oil palm fronds at all. Ladies and gentlemen, bio-based succinic acid is so hard. Unfortunately, there is no existing biosuccinic acid manufacturing plants in any of the Southeast Asian countries. I have the knowledge to build all these things. We could have this oil palm frond and immobilized cells combined together, poof, succinic acid. As simple as that. Therefore, the reason in doing all of this work is the simple fact that I believe with this kind of study, we could be able to create our own biosuccinic acid manufacturing plants as to represent the Southeast Asia. Hence, we could add a significant revenue to the country as well. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, remember, bio-based succinic acid does not only bring about substantial economic potential, but also serves to protect the earth by absorbing greenhouse gases from the environment to the system through fermentation. Thank you.
Abdullah Amru's work is on succinic acid production from oil palm frond via cell immobilization and supervised by two ladies, Professor Dr. Jamalia Muhammad Jahim, and her field of expertise is on biohydrogen, biomass and bioenergy, biorefinery, microbiology, biotechnology and bioprocess, and another lady, Dr. Shuhaida Harun, where her field of expertise is on lignocelluloses, pre-treatment, saccharifications, this must be with Saccharomyces, I think, fermentation, sugars, bioeconomy, and also biorefinery. We have now the third participant for today's competition. Allow me to invite Sharina Fairoz Abdul Manaf.
Ladies and gentlemen, how many of you have heard about xylitol? Do you notice that some of the food, beverage, or even dental care product contain xylitol? So what is xylitol basically? Xylitol has a similar physical structure and taste just like an ordinary sugars, but the differences are it has very low calorie content and has negligible effect of sugars in the blood. In fact, xylitol also has been used as a substitute sugars for the diabetic patients. Currently, xylitol is produced by a chemical process in a reactor which involves high temperature, high pressure, and with the help of an expensive catalyst. This process is very laborious, high cost, and energy intensive. Thus, in my research, I'm looking into a greener technology, more environmental friendly, as well as bio-based process, which involve the utilization of microorganisms as a medium to produce xylitol in the reactor. This process is called as a fermentation process. In my research, I'm using a yeast. Yeast is like a human, they need sugars for the energy source and for the cellular functionality in its body. To sustain the production of xylitol, I'm using oil palm frond as a raw material to substitute and to replace the expensive commercial sugar available in the market for the energy source of the yeast. The oil palm frond undergoing a specific process which called as a hydrolysis to convert it into a simple sugars for the yeast to digest it. Why do I choose oil palm frond? Because the most agricultural land in Malaysia is under oil palm plantation, and the most generated waste is the oil palm frond. It is proven from my study with a low temperature, low pressure, and a moderate operating conditions of the reactor, as well as a continuous sugar feeding to the yeast, it could enhance the productivity and the yield of the xylitol. This finding could serve as a preliminary study at industrial scale since there is no production of xylitol at industry up till now. My research could empower the economic sense through a sustainable solutions by utilizing the most abundant waste and transforming into wealth, and thus it could generate the economic growth of Malaysia. Remember, not only bread or donut comes from the yeast, but also xylitol. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Sharina Fairoz Abdul Mana from the Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment. We so happen to have 3 engineering in consecutive order. It's not that we want to arrange them that way. It was the number of order that they actually picked out. So technically it's supposed to be in random order, but it just happened the 3 of them sat, side by side. So Sharina's work is also something on palm frond, but her work is on xylitol from oil palm using Saccharomyces, and she's also being supervised by the same supervisory team by our previous participant, which is Professor Dr. Jamalia Mamat Jahim and Dr. Shuhaida Harun. So I will not read their field of expertise because they are the same as the previous one. Participant number 4, Wan Farisan Wan Sulaiman from the Faculty of Economics and Management.
Have you all been to Langkawi? I still remember the last time that I went there a couple years back. I decided to use the ferry, like the one in the picture. And during this ferry trip, I had the fear of my life. Am I going to survive? Is this ferry going to capsize? Why is this ocean wave so strong and high? Thankfully, I arrived safely at my destination. This strong ocean wave has not only caused problems to the ferry, but to the economy as well. Imagine the economy as a ferry. Really? Well, if you really think about it, aren't we all here are passengers, either in the ferry or in the economy, hoping to reach our destination, be it Kuah Jetty or high-income economy. For the economy, this ocean wave, the strong ocean wave, is the global financial crisis. To overcome the impact of this strong ocean wave, the policymakers at the time has implemented a fiscal stimulus, an extra government spending of 67 billion ringgit. This fiscal stimulus has not only cost the government 67 billion ringgit. This fiscal unfortunately has a cost, and it has cost the government 67 ringgit. This fiscal also has increased our public debt, the government borrowing, to more than 600 billion ringgit. Ladies and gentlemen, this increase in debt has caused the government to spend twice the double the spending on debt compared to public universities. And this has a negative implication on future generation, our children. As an economist, I wanted to know, is public debt good or bad for the economy? How? To achieve this, I need to examine the relationship between public debt and economic growth, especially during the time of the crisis. In my research, I analyzed this relationship using bootstrap rolling window approach, focusing on the crisis years. And I was to focus on the crisis in 1998 and also 2008. In my research, the result has shown that there is a positive relationship between public debt and economic growth after the crisis years in 1999 and also from 2009 and 2015, which I can say that public debt does really help economic growth to overcome the impact of this crisis. My research will help policymakers to overcome any future external challenges so that all of us here could arrive at our destination of high-income nation safely. Now, I want everyone to look at the image again. Imagine you're on the ferry to Langkawi with your family. While looking at your children, don't just think about your cheap chocolate. Instead, remember that public debt is good for the economy, but too high, have fear. Your children's future could be in trouble. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Wan Farisan Wan Sulaiman, and his research topic is on essays on fiscal property. Wan Farisan are being supervised by 3 astound researchers or lecturers: Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Abdul Karim, Dr. Nurlin Khalid, and Dr. Riyati Ahmad. Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Abdul Karim's field of expertise is on monetary and financial economics, international finance, applied econometric, and public finance, while the other 2 lecturers have their field of expertise in monetary economics, economic growth, monetary and fiscal policy, public finance, Islamic economics, and also finance. number 5, and her name is Anita Sesui from the Faculty of Science and Technology.
Colorectal cancer is the formation of cancer cell in the large intestine of human body. Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, that 1 in every 33 Malaysians at the risk of developing this cancer? Or can you accept the fact that one of the reasons that leads to the rising of this health problem is our diet, that is lack of dietary fiber? Think about this. There are plenty of high fiber products in the market, but for how many of us this high fiber product becomes the first preference when it comes to purchasing? I'm very sure not for many of us. It's because we all are so bored with the same old fiber source that we have been eating for decades, oats and wheats. We human beings, we need some variety, especially in food products. So, from my research, I can provide the variety for you. Rather than forcing yourself to eat the wholemeal bread and also the oats, now you can enjoy eating the high fiber bun with awesome taste. So for my PhD, I have formulated high fiber bun with inclusion of certain percentages of seaweed to look into the fiber content as well as its acceptability. And the fiber source that I use is the least known red seaweed. What is so great about this seaweed? Seaweed is high in fiber, is the only marine algae that is high in fiber. It is found abundantly in the coastal regions of Malaysia, and it is very cheap to be incorporated in food products in Malaysia anytime we want. So, the results that I obtain is composed of high fiber. So the product that I produced is a bun composed of high fiber as well as high acceptability. People like this bun. Why is it so? It's because a spoonful of seaweed is more than enough to increase the fiber content without altering the characteristics. And people liked it because it doesn't affect the taste of it, and it gives high fiber. So the conclusion, a fistful of bun is more than enough to provide all the dietary fiber that is needed for our body. And frequent consumption of it will save you from colorectal cancer. There is an old proverb saying that an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But today, let me tell you a new one, according to the current trend. High fiber bun a day keeps you away from colorectal cancer. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Anita is from the Faculty of Science and Technology, and her PhD work is on high fiber bun formulated with Capaficus alvarezi seaweed powder. Okay, this is a bit hard to say. She's being supervised by me. So I think that's why the picture is not up there. And my field of expertise is on development of satiety scale, glycemic index, community nutrition in adults, and also sensory evaluation of food. But that should not sway the judge's perception, just because I'm the MC today. Participant number 6, Hafsa Aziz. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome her on stage.
I'm going to tell the story of Haziq, a 13-year-old boy who was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia in February last year. He is one of the patients I'm studying for my PhD. There are hundreds of thousands of children in this world suffering the same pain as Haziq. They have to fight for their life. For them, the line between life and death is very thin. Sadly, more than 50% of these children will die. Acute myeloid leukemia, or AML, is the aggressive type of blood cancer, and leukemia is the #1 killer in the children. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the biggest challenge with the current treatment, the intensive chemotherapy. This treatment only cures 60% of the children and remain largely unchanged for the past 4 decades. My research focused on understanding the leukemia cells at the molecular level. What I did just like a detective, to scan through leukemia patient genome to find out the culprit mutation that cause AML. Mutation? What is mutation? Mutations means error occur. The gene structure in the genome has changed. Our genome, just like a book full of codes and information with 3 billion base pairs of DNA. A mutation can be described as a wrongly typed letter in a book with 3 billion letters. I use DNA extracted from the bone marrow of an patient and perform the whole genome sequencing to obtain that 3 billion nucleotide. Finding the hidden mutation in a genome is like finding a needle in a haystack. But with the use of bioinformatics tool, I managed to decode some of the secrets in the leukemia cells of Haziq and other patients. I believe I found the mutation in driver genes that contribute to ML and suitable for targeted therapy to be delivered in the personalized medicine approach, enlighten the hope of 40% per survivor patient. Last but not least, this finding hold the promise to unzip the secret code in childhood acute myeloid leukemia. No more tears and pain, only smile. Thank you.
Hafsah Aziz is from UKM Medical Biology Institute, or UMBI, and her research topic is on molecular mechanisms of relapse in children's acute myeloid leukemia. She's being supervised by a team of advisors, Professor Dato Dr. A. Rahman A. Jamal, Professor Dr. Hamidah Alias, and Dr. Chow Yok Ping. Professor Dato Dr. A. Rahman A. Jamal's area of expertise is on genetic markers of cancer, cancer proteomics, pediatric hematological disorders, especially in thalassemia and leukemia, stem cell therapy, microgravity science, cancer, and microbiome. While Professor Dr. Hamidah Alias' field of expertise is on clinical and molecular research in childhood malignancies, especially in acute leukemias, and hematological disorders, especially in thalassemias. And Dr. Chow Yok Ping's field of expertise is on cancer genomics and cancer biology, especially in hematological malignancies. Number 7, Nawal Mustafa from the Faculty of Education.
Not too long ago, I met Nurse Sarah when I was hospitalized for an operation. She's a cheerful and friendly nurse who would always greet me with a loud good morning when she's opening the curtain. When she knew that I'm an English teacher, she would try her best to speak English to me. Like her friends, Nurse Sarah is motivated and eager to speak in English. Yet, the courses for this type of training is very traditional, where they need to attend the courses physically, right? And these courses is hard to attend because they are very, very busy with their schedules in the hospital. Now, this is where my research comes in. I'm helping healthcare workers like Nurse Sarah by developing and designing a course for healthcare workers that consists of nurses, pharmacists, physiotherapists, and medical imaging assistants to help them to practice English language communication skills. And this is done through situations that are familiar to them in the hospital. And I've designed and developed this course to work on mobile devices. What I've done in my research is I have divided my research into 3 steps. Step 1, I found out what are the learning needs of these healthcare workers by asking them in a survey and a focus group discussion. Step 2, when I gathered their feedback, I developed the contents of the course by first presenting common situations that happen in the hospital, and then they will discuss in groups, and later their discussion is done online through this mobile device. After that, they will record and upload their responses in a dedicated YouTube channel, which I put here as my videos. Later, towards the end, they will comment on each other's videos. Step 3 of my research, which is the final step, I asked them to evaluate how useful and how acceptable is this new way of learning. So my research contributes two things. First, I've designed and developed a course for healthcare workers to practice their English language skills, and this is done on mobile devices. Second, I've provided a 3-step guide for other course designers who are interested to develop courses using mobile devices. So, the next time I see Nurse Sarah, I'm expecting to see a big smile on her face, knowing that she can practice her English at any time and anywhere using just her mobile phone. Thank you.
Thank you, Nawal Mustafa. Nawal's research title is on the design and development of a communicative English mobile module, which is called the MobiCare for healthcare professionals. Nawal is supervised by two advisors, Professor Datuk Dr. Nur Azhar Muhammad Nordin and Professor Datuk Dr. Muhammad Amin MB. They are not somebody unknown, well-known people actually. So Professor Datuk Dr. Nur Azhar's field of expertise is on technology and integration in science and maths education, IT for collaborative learning, development of core competencies of graduates ICT. While Professor Dr. Muhammad Amin MB's field of expertise is on MOOCs. So he's the person that you want to look for if you want to do the MOOCs, MOOCs. That's the massive online, open online courses, e-learning, technology, enhanced learning, English language teaching, and also learning. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nur Afikah Aling Elias Muhammad.
Infertility or the inability to have children has caused many women and families in great despair. I'm sure that you know at least one person who has a problem conceiving and has tried countless ways and spent huge sum of money just to be able to carry a baby of their own. But did you know that a leading cause of infertility can actually come from a disease? Polycystic ovary syndrome, or PCOS for short, is a problem in which a woman's hormones are imbalanced. It causes the growth of many small cysts in the ovaries. This syndrome is affecting 7 million women to be infertile. Can you imagine 7 million women who have difficulties bearing a child just due to this disease alone? What's even more disheartening for these affected women is that if PCOS is detected late, they'll have an increased risk to develop other chronic diseases, including diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and even cancer. One reason why PCOS is so difficult to be detected early is because there is a complex varieties of symptoms and no single characteristic can tell you if you have PCOS. These complexities come from different proteins in our body, but how these proteins interact still remains a mystery until today. Knowing the interactions between proteins will help us to detect PCOS better and earlier. In our study, we use a computerized method called protein network approach to identify how PCOS can occur in our body. Protein network is the interactions of proteins or how they communicate to each other to perform various functions in our body. For examples, how the proteins interact to respond and correct a damaged tissue. We compile all the PCOS-related proteins that have been previously studied and depicted them into a protein network. Then, we merge this network with the biological processes and past medical records of PCOS patients. As a result, we can see how the proteins interact, what and how body functions have been disrupted to cause PCOS. Not only that, we now know how PCOS can be linked to other diseases by knowing which proteins are responsible and how they communicate. These valuable data will then be used to develop an easy yet accurate diagnostic kit that has a huge potential to save the lives of many women and realize their dreams of having a baby of their own. Thank you.
Thank you, Nur Afika Aling, Elias Muhammad, for that informative talk on PCOS. And Nur Afika is from Institute of System Biology in Biosis. Her PhD work is on construction of protein-protein interaction network to understand the pathogenesis of polycystic ovarian syndrome, or what we normally know as PCOS. Her supervisor is Associate Professor Dr. Zeti Azura Muhammad Hussein from Institute of System Biology in Biosis, and her field of expertise is on development and application of computational methods in big data analysis and PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome. And I hope one day, Afika, you will find a cure, because I am one of those who actually suffered from PCOS, and that has caused me infertility for 5 years before I actually have my first daughter.
There was a pretty princess who fell into deep sleep because of a curse. This lovely fairy tale should have ended when she is awakened by the kiss from her true love. However, there is an untold part of this story, and I'm here today to tell you that this beautiful princess actually has an allergic disease. There are little tiny creatures under her bed, able to wake her up every night, causing her to sneeze, have running blocked nose, itchy eyes, and skin. No worries, our dear princess is not alone. There are over 300 million people in the world tortured by these same problems. And according to our research in Malaysia, 90% of these allergic people have the problem with it. And 1 in 10 children will have asthma. So, who is that? It is called house dust mite. As their name suggested, they are found in the dust in your home, especially on the bed, where you spend 8 hours a day sleeping on and breathing in their droppings. Luckily, dust mites don't bite people. We feed them constantly with skin flakes that drop off from our bodies all day long. Skin flakes are hard to be digested, so dust mites have powerful enzymes in their body that can digest skin flakes. And finally, all these skin flakes will turn out in dust mite poop. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just say that you do not want to know how many dust mite poop is there in your home right now. When people breathe in dust, they breathe in the poop and the enzymes too, which in turn can irritate the lung and aggravate asthma symptoms. And previous research work has shown that dust mite proteins is the reason why people have allergic disease. So, this is now we, as a researcher, come into play. We can determine the 3D structure of proteins and let it tell us some hidden story as well. So how we did that? We first caught dust mite, pull out all the proteins from it. After identifying the most important protein, we then crystallize it. By shooting X-ray on crystal, magically help us to know how it looked like and how it causes allergic disease in humans. Soon after, our research work can lead us to design an effective vaccine and drugs that can cure princess and dust mite allergic peoples all over the world. So every dust mite allergic peoples can then have deep sleep at night time, be free from asthma, running or blocked nose. Finally, princess can free from dust mite problems too. And princess and prince can live happily ever after. Thank you.
Thank you, Pang Zile. The Princess Aurora sleeping was actually a good sight to see, but the dust mite is certainly not. It was a scary thing to see when it was just a big thing like that. So Pang Zile's work, her PhD work, is on structural and allergenicity studies of group 21 allergens from house dust mites. And she's being supervised by Dr. Ng Chian Leong and Associate Professor Dr. Chiu Fok Tim. And Dr. Ng's field of expertise is on epitope analysis. It's a very long one, I'll read it. Epitope analysis of house dust mite allergen proteins, functional studies of human uncharacterized proteins that may be involved in polycystic ovarian syndrome, structural determination of plant sesquiterpene synthesis and alcohol dehydrogenase, structural and functional studies of hypothetical protein from pathogenic bacteria, Burkholderia, Pseudomallei, and gamma butyrolactone receptor that involve in tyrosine antibiotic biosynthesis, while Associate Professor Dr. Chiu's field of expertise is on allergens and hypersensitivity, molecular immunology and molecular numeracy, aerobiology, epidemiology and genetic of asthma and atopy, hypoallergenic vaccines, autoallergens and panallergens. Next, we have participant number 10. He's Ibrahim Danjuma from the Faculty of Law.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. Prisoners are still human beings, aren't they? Some may ask why my research cares about prisoners, since they violated the right of others. Since they violated the right of others, they should pay for their crimes. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a person with criminal mindset confined with other hardcore criminals in a cell, like a warehouse where bag of rice are stored, without toilet facilities, with over 120 inmates, sleep on the bare floor with little or no ventilation, receive unhealthy food, breathing unpleasant smell of human waste, and yet we expect them to be reformed and reintegrated back to the society. These are the nature of cruel and inhuman treatment of prisoners in Nigeria and in many other countries. If I may ask, do you know that a prisoner is like a person infected with disease who requires diligent treatment? Are you aware that prisoners have certain rights that are not forfeited at the gate of prisons? Do you know the reason for sending law offenders to prisons? These are some of the fundamental issues addressed in my study. And others are: 1, human rights are guaranteed to a person as a result of being human. For that reason, I argue that prisoners should return all rights and privileges, except those that are taken away by the law. However, prisons are regarded as rehabilitation centers, where law offenders are sent for reformation. However, prisons in Nigeria have not lived up to expectations in terms of impacting positively on the lives of prisoners. Instead, prisons turn to punitive human rights violation and breeding centers for criminals, not only due to inadequate vocational recreational facilities, but due to its cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment toward prisoners. With judges, lawyers, and prisoners can use the noble test that I formulate in my thesis as to determine the scope of prisoners' right and enforcement mechanism. And any correctional system that is based on retribution theory is less likely to provide adequate rehabilitation to law offenders, and therefore not prepared. In conclusion, you will agree with me that prisoner is like a person infected with disease who requires diligent treatment through rehabilitation in order to avoid reoffending and promote reintegration upon release. Above all, you shall agree with me that prisoners are still human beings and entitled to human rights. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibrahim Danjuma from the Faculty of Law, and his PhD work is on prison labor programs in Nigeria. So that study was done in Nigeria, an assessment from human rights perspective. Ibrahim is being supervised by Associate Professor Dr. Rohaida Nordin and Dr. Muhammad Munzil bin Muhammad. Associate Professor Dr. Rohaida's field of expertise is on international law, international rights and humanitarian law, international law and indigenous people, administrative or criminal justice system, while Dr. Muhammad Munzil's field of expertise is on criminal justice and forensic evidence. Next, we have participant number 11, Wilfred Mok Kok Ho from the Faculty of Health Sciences.
Obesity is killing the world. But wait. You must be wondering what I'm talking about. So let me tell you. When I was a kid, I was obese. Certainly a visible target for tease and bully. It was a traumatic pressure for me. Not only obesity affects my confidence, but most critically, my health. How would you feel when you are in my shoes? Have you ever wondered what is the current health status of our Malaysian children? Do you know that statistically, Malaysia is the most obese country in Asia with an obesity rate of more than 44%? That is a statistic that we should not be proud of. Ladies and gentlemen, just imagine 1 in 7 Malaysian children is obese. There's a definite need to change the current trend of the increase in childhood obesity. In the next 50 years, we need to aggressively prevent our generation from becoming obese. And this is where my research comes in. In my study, obesity programs have been conducted in both primary and secondary school. And this program had focused on building the capacities between the schools and the parents by delivering healthy eating module, one-to-one diet counseling, exercise module, physical fitness assessment by doing different types of physical activity. And last but not least, free delivery of whole grain food to increase the whole grain consumption among the school children. All the measurements such as BMI, body fat percentage, and waistline was measured 12 months after the program ended. And I found a significant reduction in BMI among the school children of all the schools. Not only that, body fat percentage and waistline were also significantly reduced. Wow, the results are really promising. These findings show schools are ideal place to plan and to conduct obesity program by implementing multi-component of program like what I have done in my research. This clearly shows school-based program designed to improve healthy lifestyle behavior by engaging overweight and obese children in nutritional and physical activity could be a good strategy to prevent childhood obesity. With this program, I'm very sure those obese children will not be bullied anymore. So say goodbye to obesity. Always remember, eat wise and drop a size. With that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Wilfred Kok Ho from the Faculty of Health Sciences. His PhD work is on influence of obesogenic environment and sustainability of childhood obesity interventions in Malaysia. Wilfred is being supervised by two people, Professor Dr. Po Bee Kun and Associate Professor Dr. Wee Lei Ham. Professor Dr. Po's area of expertise is on childhood nutrition, while Associate Professor Dr. Wee's field of expertise is on health behavior, smoking cessation, and health promotion. We now have participant number 12, I always get her name wrong, Wong Sok Kwan from the Faculty of Medicine.
You are what you eat. I'm sure every one of you know what it means, right? However, our society is constantly bombarded with million-dollar advertisements on fast food, and soft drink vending machines can be easily available. Isn't that all these food and beverages stimulating your taste bud? Without realizing, overconsumption of food containing high calorie and high sugar are the contributing factors to metabolic syndrome. Do you know what is metabolic syndrome? Metabolic syndrome is obesity, high blood pressure, high sugar in blood, high bad cholesterol, and low good cholesterol. All these come as a package to a single individual. Metabolic syndrome is a lifestyle disease that often relates with increased risk of heart disease, diabetes, and stroke. But do you ever think that metabolic syndrome may also relate to osteoporosis, or more commonly known as bone loss? Well, researchers found that metabolic syndrome features give either positive or negative impact on bone. Because of these inconsistent findings, this is where my PhD project comes in. The first part of our research aimed to investigate the relationship between metabolic syndrome and osteoporosis using rat model. A high carbohydrate, high fat diet will be adopted to induce metabolic syndrome in these rats. Then bone will be scanned for the confirmation of bone loss. After investigating the relationship between metabolic syndrome and osteoporosis, it is necessary to think about the precaution as well. Of course, there are a lot of research going on trying to develop new drugs, but we actually hope for more natural, less side effect, and less expensive way. That is to use vitamin. Vitamin E, or more specifically known as tocotrienol, has been well established for its beneficial effects in lowering cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, inflammation, and prevent bone loss. Wow, the beneficial effects of tocotrienol sound interesting. Therefore, it is important for repurposing tocotrienol as a single treatment for both metabolic syndrome and osteoporosis concurrently. I hope that our research creates awareness to the society on the association between metabolic syndrome and osteoporosis, And next, what we are trying to do is to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, which in this case is to kill 2 diseases with 1 tocotrienol. Thank you.
Thank you, Wong Sok Kwan from the Faculty of Medicine. Now I got her name right. I've been getting her name wrong since the semi-final round. Sorry about that. Okay, her thesis is on metabolic syndrome and osteoporosis, the relationship and prevention using tocotrienol. Sok Kwan is being supervised by 3 supervisors, Professor Dr. Ima Nirwana Sulaiman, Professor Dr. Fariha Haji Suhaimi, and Dr. Chin Kok Yong. Professor Dr. Ima Nirwana's field of expertise is on bone metabolism and osteoporosis, natural product pharmacology, while Professor Dr. Fariha Haji Suhaimi's field of expertise is on stress enzymes, metabolic syndrome, natural products, and bone metabolism. Dr. Chin's field of expertise is on bone metabolism, vitamins and bone health, and also epidemiology of osteoporosis. Next, we have participant number 13, Tijani Rabiu Ghiazi from the Faculty of Medicine.
Assalamu alaikum. I would like to start by congratulating every one of us here present for longevity, which we seriously yearn, is being achieved. Thanks to groundbreaking researches in field of medical sciences, today medical treatments are tailored based on individual needs. That living long is no longer a problem. But come to think about it, to what end is longevity without a good quality of life? Imagine you live up to 60, 70, 80 years where you cannot perform basic activities of life. Sitting, sleeping, and even eating could be a problem. One life can be so bothersome that one could even prefer being dead and forgotten than living very long in a vegetative state. And this brings us to the subject matter, osteoporosis in postmenopausal women. Osteoporosis is a medical condition of the bone that is characterized by reduced bone strength and increased vulnerability of the bone to fracture. It's said to affect over 200 million women as at 2005. And 1 out of every woman, out of every 3 women above the age of 50 will express osteoporosis-related fracture, which means we have a serious problem. And it's more of a problem considering the fact that there's a report of the fact that our population is not aging. The population of the old is expected to increase by 21% in the year 2050. And considering the fact that the gold standard treatment that was previously employed in treatment of this condition is associated with serious side effects such as cancer, thereby throwing away our suffering mothers from this drug, leaving them with no option. And this is where our research comes in, looking for solutions to solve this problem, osteoporosis in postmenopausal women. We did a survey earlier and we found that one very important plant that is commonly available here in Malaysia called Labicia pulmila and known as Kachip Fatima has attributes that makes it very important in preventing this medical condition. And we carried a study. From previous study, we realized it contains natural estrogens that can be used. So we did bone-specific study looking at administering these plants, like the leaf and root extract to animal model rat, which we induced postmenopausal osteoporosis, and we studied the effect on bone morphology using a 3D imaging using CT scan. We as well look at the biochemical markers and ultimately on mechanical strength, and we realized there was positive result. It was able to preserve bone microarchitecture and ultimately yielded better mechanical results compared to a negative control. That's osteoporosis model. So we came to a conclusion that this is, of course, an option to be considered worthy of further researches by this university, thereby pushing this agent from the bedside, from the bench to bedside, and making it available to our yearning mothers. So why the wait? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tijani, for that 3-minute talk. Tijani is from the Faculty of Medicine, and his PhD research is on effects of the root and the leaves of Labicia pulmila, commonly known to us as Kachip Fatima, on bone biomarkers, oxidative status, and mechanical strength of ovarectomized rats. Tijani is being supervised by 2 professors, Professor Dr. Norazlina Muhammad and Professor Dr. Ahmad Nasrun Shoaib. Professor Dr. Norazlina's field of expertise is on bone metabolism, osteoporosis, and natural product, while Professor Dr. Ahmad Nasrun's field of expertise is on bone metabolism, osteoporosis, and also natural products. I now call upon participant number 14, Muhammad M.M. Aboras, from the Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment.
Life is short. It's very short. Smile when you still have teeth. But the question is, what about people who don't have teeth? This is a picture of Ahmed, a 15-year-old boy. He goes to the school every day with this mouth. You know, millions of people have the same situation of Ahmed because the cost of dental restorations, such as dental crowns and the bridges, is too expensive. Ladies and gentlemen, there are many reasons behind the high cost of dental restorations. Let me give you an example. In dental clinics, zirconia blocks, or commonly known as dental ceramics, are used to fabricate nice crowns and bridges. However, the recent process is not completely optimized. Only 55% from zirconia blocks are used during the fabrication process of dental restorations. But 45% are simply thrown away. Just imagine, more than 4,000 dental clinics here in Malaysia. It's a waste, ladies and gentlemen. If someone were to optimize the process and made use of the waste, all people around the world will have shiny teeth. Therefore, in my research, I recycled wasted zirconia to become better, stronger, and cheaper dental ceramics of all. My research was a challenge. I spent more than 2 years in the lab at Faculty of Engineering and Faculty of Dentistry. First, I collected zirconia blocks from dental clinics here in Malaysia. After that, I converted them to nano-sized powder. The nano-sized powder then was fabricated to become new dental ceramics blocks. My new dental ceramics blocks had undergone strict analysis, and I found that my new material has a good aesthetic, high strength, with low cost, compared with the commercial dental ceramics in the market now. I am confident that my research finding will be used by people all around the world because my dental ceramic process reuses waste, reduces environmental burden, money will be saved all around the world, and that will help people like Ahmed to smile again and have a happy life. Ladies and gentlemen, the life begins with a smile. Please smile. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Muhammad M. Aboras from the Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment. His PhD work is on reutilization of remnants from nanozirconia blanks for dental crown applications, and his supervisory teams comprise of Professor Dr. Andanastuti Mokhtar, Professor Dr. Cik Husna Azhari, and Dr. Norziha Yahya. Professor Dr. Andanastuti's field of expertise is on advanced ceramics, processing of ceramics, dental ceramics, and solid oxide fuel cells. Professor Dr. Cik Husna Azhari's field of expertise is on non-metallic materials processing, culture and technology, and women in science, while Dr. Norziha Yahaya's field of expertise is on dental, ceramic, and prosthetic dentistry. We now have participant number 15, Ahmad Zainal Abidin from the Faculty of Economics and Management.
Titanic, the most gigantic ship ever created in the human history, was designed to be the fastest ship in the world and also to be unsinkable. Surprisingly, Titanic sunk in the North Atlantic Ocean on 15 of April 1912 because it struck an iceberg. Even more tragic, 1,517 passengers died in this disaster. What can we learn from Titanic? Titanic was supposed to arrive at the destination with all passengers safe and sound. And this tragedy would not have happened if Titanic had sufficient preparation to expect the unexpected. Ladies and gentlemen, expecting the unexpected is what we call internal control. Generally, internal control is designed to provide reasonable assurance on the achievement of an organization's objective without compromising the preparation for the unexpected. It is a well-noted fact that the very objective of having a financial institution, either conventional or Islamic, is to maximize profit. The question now is, how could Islamic financial institution achieve this objective while having additional requirement to comply with the Islamic law or Sharia? Ladies and gentlemen, with an absence of the internal control system that is based on Sharia, millions or even billions of ringgit could be manipulated as a result of greediness. Now, if you do not comply, there are 3 consequences that you might have to face. First, the profit is considered illegal and unlawful, which leads to the second consequence: the money cannot be used for any purpose other than channeling it to charity. And third, and the worst, is, based on Islamic Financial Services Act 2013, any person convicted with an offense that is due to non-compliance to Sharia is liable to imprisonment of up to 8 years or fine not exceeding 25 million ringgit Malaysia or both. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, with reference to the existing conventional internal control system, my research aims at finding out the implementation of the internal control system that is based on Sharia as practiced by Islamic financial institutions. The result will definitely help the process of formulating guidelines on internal control so that the current and future Islamic financial market, not just in Malaysia, but also in other countries, would be driven toward a better practices. Certainly, we don't want to be on the next Titanic that sank. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmad Zainal Abidin. His PhD work is on internal control system for Sharia compliance in Islamic financial institution. He's being supervised by Dr. Zakia Muhammadun Muhammad and Dr. Zurina Shafi'i. Dr. Zakia's field of expertise is on internal audit, assurance services and fraud, while Dr. Zurina Shafi'i's field of expertise is on Sharia audit, Islamic financial institution accounting and reporting, as well as Islamic financial planning. Next, we have participant number 16, Mashal Kasim Sulaiman Al-Quda, from the Faculty of Information Science and Technology.
WhatsApp, Facebook, Amazon, Google, and other successful organizations are using agile methods in developing their software. So what is agile method? In 2001, a group of 17 software developers collaborated to uncover better ways of developing software. They proposed what's so-called Agile Manifesto, based on 4 values and 12 principles. Ever since, businesses have been adopting these values and principles in various creative ways, or let me say, in various creative agile methods as shown under the umbrella. XP, Scrum, Kanban are examples of those agile methods. However, there's no silver bullet. No single agile method can solve all organizational problems, and selecting the appropriate agile method for different projects in different organizations is a challenging task. So the main aim of our research is to design a framework of how to select agile method. A systematic literature review was undertaken to identify the factors which affect the selection. A grounded theory approach was conducted to validate the factors and investigate how they could be used in the selection. As you can see, the first step is that the team should conduct a meeting to discuss the value of each and every selection factor. Based on each value, a method will be assigned. Since there are 15 factors, 38 values, and 20 agile methods, the output was considered as a big data. So, a machine learning algorithm was used to implement a prototype which assists the team to select the optimal agile method. Is that enough? No. We are agilists. It's a Kaizen mind, and we should continuously make improvement. So, when facing a problem, in using the selected agile method, the team should conduct retrospective meeting and discuss the values again. So, based on each values, practices will be selected. Extra practices from other agile methods, or we omit unsuitable practices from the selected one. To conclude, Facebook, WhatsApp, Amazon are not using the same agile methods in developing their software. Determine your own agile method and develop a successful software. Thank you.
Thank you, Marshal Kasim Sulaiman Al-Kuda. His PhD work is on a framework of selecting agile method in the development of software products. Marshal is being supervised by Associate Professor Dr. Rozilawati Razali from the School of Information Science and Technology. Her field of expertise is on requirements engineering and empirical software engineering. Participant number 17 is Siti Shazani Suhaimi from UKM Medical Molecular Biology Institute, UMBI.
Endometrial cancer that arises from the lining of uterus is the fourth most common cancer in women. By the year 2020, there will be more than 300,000 new cases and 90,000 deaths due to endometrial cancer. If detected early, cure rate is high. But once cancer spread to other organs, there is only 68% chances of that patient will survive for more than 5 years. One of the major causes of endometrial cancer is excess of a hormone called estrogen. Ladies and gentlemen, most of the time, estrogen has lovely effect. It helps women to achieve that smaller waist to hip ratio, like the sexy curve on the classic Coca-Cola bottle, which makes them more feel attractive. It's also responsible for the stimulation of endometrial cells in preparation for pregnancy. However, it also has a dark side, where too much of estrogen will make you sick. Even good effects will become bad. It has been linked to a wide range of conditions, including an increase in fibroid, endometriosis, and infertility. Yet, in some cases, this hormone helps abnormal cells in uterus to grow. And if the growth became out of control, it will give rise to the most common subtype of cancer called estrogen receptor-positive disease. This disease is featured by overproduction of estrogen receptor that leads to the disturbance in estrogen signaling. This will disrupt processes regulating cell normal division. I have been working on my PhD project to better understand on how disturbance in estrogen signaling drive endometrial cancer at molecular level. After searching for errors in hundreds of candidate genes, we have found that mutation in WHSC1 gene, a co-activator of estrogen receptor, play a critical role. This mutant activates the production of estrogen receptor, in which the stimulation of estrogen and its receptor kick off a process that can lead to cancer development. How does it work? Imagine a lock and a key. Estrogen receptor is the lock and estrogen hormone is the key. Once key fits into the lock, they will give signal to the cell, telling them to grow. With more locks, more keys can be filled, stimulating endometrial cell to grow and divide rapidly. This causes uncontrolled cell proliferation, increased cell ability to migrate, and enhanced cell ability to form colony. In the nutshell, the finding of mutated WHSC1 gene is new and has contributed to additional knowledge in endometrial cancer. This gene could be potentially exploited as effective target for endometrial cancer therapy. With this study, moving from genomics to the bedside can become a reality. With that, thank you.
Thank you, Siti Shazani Suhaimi from UMBI. Her research work is on elucidation of signaling pathway in molecular subtypes of endometrial cancer. And she's being supervised by Professor Datuk Dr. A. Rahman A. Jamal and Dr. Nurul Shakima Abdul Muttalib. Professor Datuk Dr. A. Rahman A. Jamal's fields of expertise is on genetic markers of cancer, cancer proteomics, pediatric hematological disorders in thalassemia, leukemia, stem cell therapy, microgravity science, cancer and microbiome, while Dr. Nurul Shakima's field of expertise is on cancer genomics. Haryani Hamza from the Faculty of Social Science and Humanities.
descent 7,000, expedite passing 9,000 feet, and speed restriction at 250 knots. Xanadu 370, clear for the ILS approach, runway 3 to left via Kilo 403, report final. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That communication might sound strange to your ears, but that are the actual communication between pilots and air traffic controller. In actual communication, controller has to communicate with at least 10 different aircraft at the same time. And this requires controller to be competent in communication because one small mistake from them can lead to fatal incident. My research studied the actual communication between pilots and air traffic controller in Kuala Lumpur International Airports. Currently, the majority of pilots operating in Malaysia airspace consists of non-native English speakers, which means they learn English as a second language, third language, or solely as a requirement for them to participate in communication rather than to be competent in the language. And under these circumstances, the amount of miscommunication is higher. Miscommunication between pilots and air traffic controller in Malaysia frequently caused by insufficient English proficiency, especially during emergency situation and bad weather condition, which require for them to construct longer and more complex instruction or requests. Furthermore, pilots and controller are highly influenced by their first language. This makes the communication become more complicated and difficult for them to interpret each other due to the strong accent, different pronunciation, and language structures. My research will help to improve communication competence among pilots and air traffic controller, especially for non-native speaker countries. And my research will help to develop suitable training materials and syllabus for pilots and air traffic controller in Malaysia to improve the aviation safety. So ladies and gentlemen, the next time when you are stranded at the airports and your flight has been delayed or the pilot is taking a little too long for a landing, just remember, in aviation, safety will always come first. This is your controller signing off. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Haryani Hamza. She is the controller and she has signed off. So signing off means she is the last participant for today's competition. Haryani is doing her PhD and her work is on a study of pilot and air traffic controller communicative discourse. And when we hope with her work, she's able to create a module or actually some listening text or conversation text that will help the pilots. So every time we all go up on a plane, we all feel safe and secure that the pilots and the air traffic controller are talking in the same language. Haryani is supervised by Dr. Wong Fok Fei, and her field of expertise is on language testing and assessment, workplace English, language identity, TESOL, and also ESP. With that final participant, the UKM 3-minute thesis competition 2017 has come to an end. I would like to invite all the members of the jury to the assigned room for deliberation and discussion. Meanwhile, all the participants are to remain in the hall. Thank you. I would like to invite all the members of the jury to individually give their remarks on today's competition. Shall we begin with Professor Dr. Baharudin Omar?
Overall, I'm pretty happy with the presentations. And as expected, this is the final, isn't it? Yeah? So we do expect certain quality in their deliveries. First things that whenever, from my own experience, the first thing that I look at the first second, if not the first minute. When the participants walk on the stage, how she walks also, I will look at it. Is it with confidence? That says a lot. That says a lot with confidence. And the first few sentences even. Those are the things that we look and I see some semblance of nervousness there. Quite enough. I mean, either the audience, this is not their first time. In fact, they have delivered before during the preliminaries, I suppose, yeah. But again, this is students being students. You know, they are not lecturers. Or lecturers too, yeah. Okay. But how I wish there are some elements of, humoristic elements there. I didn't see that. In fact, I think there are some punchlines. You know, the intonation should be, quite a number of them have quite a monotonous delivery. How I wish they can be, you know, a punchline. I don't expect them to dress like pilots or clowns or doctors there in front. The way is okay, but again, you have to hold the audience right for the first minute, for the first second. Yeah. Don't. I think it's good to be crazy, a bit crazy. I don't see the craziness there. But again, that's my own opinion. Overall, I'm pretty happy. And I think we have a good crop, an excellent crop that could represent UKM. Thank you very much.
Now I can take a deep breath. And first of all, thank you very much to all of you following us today, this whole morning until afternoon. Yeah, my fellow friends, contestants, I know how you feel exactly. I know how nervous you are, and I know how you feel when you stand on the stage. It's different when you practice at home, right? It's totally different. And also thank you, Pro-Chancellor, for being with us for the whole morning. It's very, very good and of you to have together with us. My name is Jay Suman. Just simply call me Jay is enough. And I have a little bit experience in the 3MT previously since 2015. So let me share a little bit of my own experience. How did I participate in this event? This is one of the prestigious events that you can ever have in a PhD study. This is one of the great events you can have even in an international level. So what I think is the first 7 seconds is actually the very important 7 seconds for you that the audience or the crowd or the judges will decide whether they like you or not. The first 7 seconds, according to psychology test. And the next 30 seconds, the judges or the crowd will decide whether they want to continue to listen to you or not. After that, if they decide not to listen, then the flow will be disconnected. But if it's interesting, it's connected, it's flowing, then they will follow you until the end of the speech. So this is the way how are we going to structurize our 3-minute speech. Now, technically 3 minutes, it sounds like very short. But trust me, if you ask them, that's the longest 3 minutes in their life. Am I right? The longest 3 minutes in their life, right? So that is why you need to prepare very carefully your 3 minutes. Structurize it into the way how are you going to open your speech, the opening of your speech. Some of you choose to be in a storyline. Some of you use analogy. Analogy is good to describe something to non-experts people to understand what we are trying to say. Make some example. And in a humor method, yes, because we are talking to human. You're talking to human. So don't read your slides. And you have too much text on your slides. That's one of my comments. Your slides are a little bit congested with information, too technical. That is good if you go for inner text or I-text or some exhibition competition for your product. That is good. But 3-minute thesis, you are the main focus of the 3 minutes, not your slide. You need to make sure the judge and the crowd focus on you. This is where we will have our 3 minutes or the first 7 seconds to impress our judge, to captivate them, to make sure they stay along with them throughout the whole 3 minutes. Structurize into opening, and then problem statement, and then how do you solve and address these problems, then finally how do you wrap it up. Yeah, so this is how my personal opinion in giving marks. And as Prof said just now also, the moment you step up the stage, you are the image of the 3 minutes. So how are you going to portray your image? The way you dress, your slide is your companion that is going to show a little bit brief picture of your 3-minute thesis. So it's all, you need to be balanced in that. I'm not going to take long, okay? I can go for 3 hours, okay? But this is some of the techniques and the tips for you all. Watch more YouTube's video on the previous winners. Look on the international level. How did they design the slides? How did they flow through with the slides and throughout the whole 3 minutes on the stage? So thank you very much for giving me this short opportunity to share a little bit.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, first of all, I think most of the judges explained about what they want, what should be done for the contestant. But for me, as a newsreader, we have a technique how you project your voice, how you use this microphone, how you use the clip mic microphone, and how you use this, what we call it, this one, I'm not sure. But there's a different way how you use the different technologies, I think. So on voice projection, I think I will offer myself to help any of the contestants to how they can deliver a very good, how to use the inner voice, the head voice, or somehow you can put your emotion in your speech. So I think that's my expert here. Obviously in my marks they can see. So I think that's my comments on it. Okay, thank you.
Well, I think all of you did very well, but of course there are a lot of room to improve. Now I've been in science communication for the past 14 years. So what I'm going to say here is not just for 3MT, but for your career progression as well. Because 3MT is a competition, and why Queensland or why we are also following this is so that you develop your communication skill. It's not just to win the competition. So first let's just, what I want, my sincere hope, aspiration is that all of you, including those who had nervous breakdown, including those who think you did not do well, please continue doing this. Not only throughout the next 2 years, you're going to be doing a PhD, but throughout your career. Now let me tell you why communication is important. Because you may think only if you become academia, you need to communicate, or if you become a PR or take up some communication position, you need to communicate. That is not true. If we really see, look at a scientist. He needs to communicate when he goes to MOSTI to get a grant. And the panel who sits in MOSTI may not be in the same research field as you are. So how do you do the pitching that your project research is so important that you get the funding? You need to communicate to your pro VC who is completely in a different field to get an extra lab, to get additional research assistance. So how do you do that? So when, at every point we need to communicate. You can be working in an industry, any company, you can become your own entrepreneur. You need to communicate to get collaborator, to get investors, to get your patent, everything you need communication. And I'm glad to see that today in Malaysia, communication, or specifically science communication, is relatively picking up. Although we're still new, it's picking up, and a lot of agencies, institutes, even ministries, we are placing importance to this. So now to the tips for communication, just go back to the basic. Always imagine, Albert Einstein says, if you can't communicate the research you do, you're not good at it. I was visiting a dermatologist once, and I kept asking him a lot of questions, and you know what he told me? He said, if you are not from medical school, you will not understand what I'm going to say. It's not true. If he's an expert dermatologist, he must be able to make a layperson like me understand my condition. So that goes for everyone. So Albert Einstein says, if you can't communicate to your grandmother, you are not good in what you do. But let me also tell you, as a science communicator, I can tell you that I'm not going to tell you that it's easy. No, it is really tough. And putting your thesis, 4 years work in 3 minutes, is really a difficult thing. But it's not impossible. It's certainly not impossible. It is just practice. I always tell my students, when you balik kampung, what do your friends, your neighbors, your uncles, your mother, your parents ask you? What apa dekat UKM? Anyone, right? Anywhere. You can balik kampung anywhere. You can balik kampung to a town, actually. But this is what you do. What are you doing in PhD in what? And all these people who ask are certainly not in the same field as you. So try explaining to them, what do you do? And if you can make them understand. I first practice my communication skill with my daughters. And at that time, they were 4 years old, 5 years old, and I started telling them about biotechnology, that's my field, about gene transfer, about genetic modification. So if you can do it to your friends who are in completely a different faculty, it's a very good practice for you. So go back to basics. Now it's just very simple for journalism. Helmi will agree with me. It's basic what? What am I doing? Why? Why this research? What are the problems? Some of you did very well in your problem statement. You explained this is the current situation, there's a big problem, and my research addresses these concerns. So what is my research? Why I'm doing that? Sometimes when, where, and how. A lot of you, a number of you, were very good presenters. The narration was good, but then the how was not there. How do I do it? So, we are so excited to know, especially in a different field, what are you doing? How are you doing it? How are you converting it? But then that was lacking. So have a balance between your oration skill and your content. We want some depth to your research, but not giving us a full thesis. We don't want to see your full thesis. We will not understand. But a little bit of depth, so we come to the same page as you, is important. The flow, I think some of the jury said that, the flow is important in anything. All supervisors will tell you, your first sentence must link to the second sentence, your first paragraph must link to your second paragraph, your first heading must link to your second heading when you write thesis. When you write anything, when you write even for journalistic article. So that is important. The other thing we noticed, all of us noticed, is that being natural on stage. Yes, you have memorized, but when you come to the stage, tell yourself, these are people who I'm going to tell a story about my research. So try to be as natural as possible. Nervous stage fright, it is there. Try to overcome that with little bit of practice. And as I said, speak like you're explaining to your mother, your auntie, who is not in the same field as you. Technical terms, very important, simplify them, introduce them, define them, explain them. Don't take any technical term as, you use this technical term day in, day out, but don't take them for granted. Tell yourself, this audience do not know my area. I'm going to bring them to my page. Results, a lot of you lacked results. I'm sure you have good results, but a lot of you did not tell us, now this is my research, and this is what I found, and I've got very good results, and my results are going to be significant in addressing the problem. So results are very important. Now, I have got an invitation for all of you, including the supervisors who are sitting here, that I'm so impressed with the research you do, no matter how you did. I don't know how many of you have seen the Petri dish in UPM. Have you seen anyone? The newspaper, the Petri dish. The Petri dish is the first science newspaper in Malaysia. We created that because we wanted science to go out to the lay people. All this good research must reach the public. Let me tell you, must reach the politicians so that they know research must be funded. So that's my invitation to you. Please send your articles to us. We'll be very, very happy to publish. Okay? So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mahalakshmi Arjunan, for the remarks. They are very fruitful, so all the researchers as well as the supervisors, and I would like to encourage all of you to write, that include myself, so that our research can go into the eye of probably nationwide and then later on global. Before we announce the winners, I'm pleased to invite Professor Dato' Insinyur Dr. Muhammad Marzuki Mustafa, Pro Vice Chancellor of Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, accompanied by Professor Dr. Andana Stuti Mokhtar and Dr. Ashnida Aladin, to present a token of our appreciation to the juries. I would like to invite once again Dr. Mahalakshmi Arjunan, Head of Jury, to announce the name of the winners.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to announce 3 winners from the clusters, and then finally I'm going to announce the overall 3 winners who's going to represent UKM at the national level. So first, Science and Technology cluster, the winners, Norafika Aling for Science and Technology. The second prize for Science and Technology is Hafsa Aziz. And the supervisor. Ada. The third prize for Science and Technology, Wilfred Mock Kokho. Engineering? Yeah, I'll do that. I made a mistake. Okay, now we go to engineering, and I'm going to announce the third, second, and finally the first. I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. Okay, so engineering, the third prize goes to Abdullah Amru bin Indra Lufti. The second winner for engineering, Sharina Fairuz Abdul Manaf. And the supervisor. Two students from the same supervisor. And the first one for engineering. Who's that? I must say I was very impressed with this person. Muhammad Abaros. No. We were even stricter. We move on to science, social science. So the third winner for social science, Nawal Mustafa. The second winner for social science, Haryani Hamza. Supervisor, dekat KLIA. Okay, who is the first winner for social science? Ahmad Zainal Abidin. Okay, now we know the 9 speakers. Among the 9 speakers, 3 are going to represent UKM at the national level. Who are they among the 9? Okay, so I'm going to announce the third one first. Muhammad Aboros. The third, Aboras. The third winner for this year's UKM 3-minute thesis. Okay. The second winner, Ahmad Zainal Abidin. So who is the champion for 3-minute thesis UKM this year? Siapa? Say it again. Nur Afrika Alaini. Yeah. Now the good thing is what we had this year was Nur Afrika is from Science and Technology, Ahmad Zainal Abidin is from Social Science, and Muhammad Aboras is from Engineering. So the 3 top winners come from 3 clusters. So it's nice balance this year. Congratulations to all the winners, and again, my hope and my call is for everyone to continue communicating. Now, I didn't tell you the website for Petri Dish is www.thepetridish.my. So you can go there, please write to us and send us your article. So thank you very much.
And now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Andanastuti Mokhtar to give our token of appreciation to Professor Dato Insinyur Dr. Muhammad Marzuki Mustafa. Thank you, Professor Dr. Andanastuti.